Hey everyone, and welcome to another Sasquatch Theory podcast. On this episode, we have Mark from Oregon, and he wanted to share his Bigfoot encounters and experiences with all of us, and they are some very interesting experiences that he's had, and he seems very adamant and serious about these encounters, and yeah, I believe him. Have you ever had a Bigfoot encounter in Northern California, Washington State, Oregon, or anywhere in the Pacific Northwest? If so, please contact me at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com, and I would certainly love to speak with you about these encounters. I find the Northwest to be a very intriguing area to experience Bigfoot activity, and it's very large and remote. If you guys can, please support the channel in any way possible, whether it's through donation, purchasing merchandise, or simply watching the videos and subscribing to the channel. Things have been pretty hard lately because my equipment keeps breaking down left and right, and I cannot catch a break, whether it's microphones, cameras, software, and just everything that it takes to run a YouTube channel. It seems like electronics nowadays do not last, and now they make equipment where you can't change the battery, so if the batteries wear down, you have to throw the whole device away. So if you guys can, please help me out in any way possible, and I would really appreciate that because it will help keep the channel going. Alright guys, let's dive straight into Mark's Bigfoot encounters from the Pacific Northwest. Alright Mark, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good,
Good to hear. Mark, if you would, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your Bigfoot encounters and experiences from the very beginning, please.
Okay, I grew up in Southern California, upper middle class, and in the 70s, a skateboarder. Got into, just a regular kid. Got in a lot of trouble, and then I went to the Coast Guard, and then I started working with a tugboat company in 1994, and all we did was work on the Columbia River in the West Coast. We pulled into a million towns, every town on the West Coast that has a mill, small town. We pull in and get lumber or fuel barges. So and then that's when I started mountain biking. So I worked 2 months, and I get 2 months off. So I would when I was off, I'd mountain bike, and then working. I work in a lot of towns we went to, they didn't have taxis, so where you pull in, the town's usually a mile or two away from where you pull in. So you walk through, you walk there, cut through the woods and whatnot. And up to this point, I never hunted, I never camped. I knew absolutely nothing about the woods, the mountains, or so forth. So everything was I just took it as it happened. I didn't know what was happening, but later on, I kind of pieced it all together, But you just want to start with the first encounter, what I thought was an encounter.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Look, it was on the Dusage River. It was June of what was that, 19? I think it was 94. So I'm going on a 2-week long mountain bike trip, and I'm right past McKenzie Bridge in Oregon, and so I'm fishing. Decided to fish. So fish on the river. There's nobody around or whatever. And then I hear a thump coming down the river. I could see like 50 yards coming down, and 50 yards behind me the bend, and it's just a clunking sound. And around the bend comes a drift boat with two fishermen in it. You know how you drift boat fish? One guy's on the oars, and the other guy mans the poles. Mm-hmm. And then in the front of the boat, they just drift down and bounce off rocks and come as they go. Well, these guys, they were not maneuvering whatsoever. They were just hitting rocks coming down. The guy had the oars in the boat, and the guy in the front was just sitting there. And they came within 20 feet of me, and these two individuals I've never seen two people more scared in my whole life. I was trying to figure out what they're doing. They're just bouncing off these rocks, toward me, and then down around the bend of the river. And I'm sitting there going, I couldn't figure out what they were doing. And then I smelled the smell, and I just the worst smell I ever smelled right after that. And I just going, what's that? And, I was familiar with, like, we had a caustic soda barge, so I know what that smells like, and outhouses, just a combination of all of the above. And I just go, I I just got this feeling. I just go, I'm out of here, and I just left my pole there, put my stuff in my camper, and I just drove away and just said, well, whatever, you know. I just wrote that up, and then later on I kind of put two and two together on that, because I mean I have not smelled anything like that again since then. That was the only time I ever smelled, the supposed Sasquatch smell, per se, you know. And then then what was the next one? I was in Kalama, Oregon, and we pulled into it was right past the old Army ammo pier on the Columbia River, and then town is like 2 miles away. So I'm walking back. It's like midnight. There's no cabs, so the cabs had to come from, I think it's St. John's, and it was like, so they didn't come past midnight. So I'm walking back uh, along the river trail, and I know something's following me because I can hear it, and I can you can sense it, and you know I'm just going whatever, because and then me just every time, just typical stuff. You stop, it stops, and whatnot. So I bend down to, like I'm tying my shoe, and I grab a rock about the size of a cantaloupe, and I get up, and I lost it right to the direction where the noise is coming from. It's like within 100 yards of Columbia River. This trail is like it's the railroad tracks, and they had the I guess the runoff from the river there. So there's a lot of reeds and stuff like that in the stream, and it's not 100% like a brush, but mostly is, But anyway, it lands in the water, and whatever was near it takes off, away from me, and I didn't see what it was, but I just saw the amount of shrubs and bushes this thing displaced on as it was, going away from me. And when like a person or your dog, whatever, you run through, you know 6 foot 7 high reeds or whatever, they knife through it. They tend to knife, but this thing was it was just like a 2 foot wide, 3 foot wide section was just getting plowed over as it was leaving, and I could see everything from like 2 feet above the ground, because it was like a semi overcast, and there was a full moon, so the clouds would open up, and you could see fairly well and whatever. But you can't see from like 2 feet below. I mean 2 feet above from the ground, just because it gets darker, and the way it was situated. And I just watched this path just blaze away. I'm just going, what was that? I just, and like I said, being not familiar with the woods whatsoever, and just seeing that, I just said, well, I'm gonna have to remember that to try and figure out later what that actually was. And I mean, it's hard to describe the amount of destruction this thing went. If it'd be like a 500-pound alligator. That's the only thing I can think of, because I couldn't see it. And I just saw all this, destruction. I mean, I didn't know anything about Bigfoot. I didn't believe in Bigfoot at all during this time. And like I said, I'm from SoCal, slightly arrogant, and just really didn't have didn't bother with a lot of stuff, just to pay attention to things. I just wanted to mountain bike work, and that was it. And I didn't really want anything to affect my mountain biking or what I did. So I just kind of blew things off. And then the one time, just the first encounter I had visually, I was in Powell River, British Columbia. I was coming back again. There's a trail that goes from I think it's Westland to the mill. I think the mill's closed now. But I was with Brian, my friend off the boat. We're walking back, and we were there watching. I think this was '98. It was when the USA played Canada for the hockey championship. It's not the NHL, but it's the World Championships. We watched that, and then he leaves like 5 minutes before me, and then you can walk on the streets, and it goes, I don't know, I guess like a mile or two, but you can cut through what's in it, the park. I'm not sure, but it's really wooded, and then again, something's following me, and I thought it was Brian, mess with me, So I'm sitting there, so I'm walking, and then I really get a bad, not a good feeling. So, of course, I grab a bunch of rocks. I always grab rocks because I just threw rocks all grown up, you know. And I knew 100% sure something was out there. So to the left of me is the Pacific Ocean, the Puget Sound and whatnot, about 100 yards away, and there's this really thick trees. And I just put my cigarette on the ground, and I just look one direction in front of me, and for like 15 seconds to see if I could see anything. I didn't see anything, and then I pivot 90 degrees, and I'm looking the other direction, and then right when I do that, this from like 30 feet in front of me, this thing runs across the trail. I mean, just takes off and runs across the trail, and me being me, I take the rock I had was like the perfect rock. I you know a sidearm fastball, and I hit it in the right armpit, like below the armpit on the side. The rock hits it, and it sounded like it hit a sandbag. And I actually found the rock later. Just it fell straight to the ground after it hit it, and it ran across the trail. I cannot make any details of it. I can just see the outline of it, and it's I don't know, probably 6 feet tall. I don't know, probably 300 pounds, and it goes across the trail and runs to the right. And the thing is just, it's hauling ass. I'm just looking at it going, and it's going away, and I can see probably about 100 yards to my right. I can't see 100 yards, but it was dark, but I could just, and then like 300 yards to the right, there's a street light where the street was, so I could just see this outline of this thing running, and it running toward there, away from me, at a speed that we cannot do over terrain that's not level, or you know, it's just not, you know. And I'm just looking at it, going, what? I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, and I just stand there going, there's still Sasquatch. That didn't cross my mind whatsoever. So I go back to the boat. I was working on the Henry Sauce. That was the name of the boat I was on. So I go back to the boat, and I talked to the chief engineer was up, Dave, and I asked him, is Brian here? And he goes, you got back half hour ago. And I go, half hour ago, where's he at? He goes, he's sleeping in there. So I go in his room. Sure enough, he's sound asleep. And then I come out there, and I told the chief what I just told him what happened. And it's funny. He grabs my shoulders. Can I cuss? Because he cussed when he said this, but he said he goes he goes, you dumb mother. That was a mother Sasquatch. And he looks at me and tells me this. I'm looking at him. I'm going, well, what? I'm going. I didn't believe him. I just said, what are you talking about? And then so whatever. Then the next morning I go, I got to figure this out. So I walk back to that exact spot, on the trail, take, I don't know, 20 minutes. And I find where I stood. My cigarette butt is still on the ground in the dirt, which I stand right where I stood, right when it happened the night before. And I look at right where it ran, and right in the trail is the same rock that I threw and hit that damn thing. It's right in the trail. It's like probably the size of an egg, so it's perfect for throwing. So I pick it up and I grab it, and it smelled kind of funny. It didn't smell like it had a smell to it. The bad, not a good smell either. Just a faint whiff of one. I kept that rock for a couple of years till I lost it somehow. But I just blew that off again because I think I didn't want anything to affect my mountain biking, because that's all I did. If I believed in something like that, I wouldn't mountain bike whatsoever. Just no way. So I just blocked it out, and then I don't know, it's like a couple years after that, was in North Bend, Oregon, and it was by the, where was it? I don't know, it's past North Bend. You go over the North Bend Bridge, and they have a wilderness. I think it's warehouse of property where they farm trees, and they clear cut it, and they let it grow or whatever. So I'm mountain biking back there, and all the gates are locked, so you can't drive in there. You have to, ride in. So so I'm riding there. I'm coming up this crest of this hill, and then in front of me is I'm looking at standing in there. It's not a fire road, like in between the trail and the fire road. but as a, a long-haired ram, and just I don't think there's any around there. It looks like cousin Ed from the the Adams family. I was just going, what the hell is that? And it's probably like 100 yards, but I'm going, what am I looking at? And then it's looking at me, and then it looks to its right, so it's 100 yards from me, and it looks to its left. So I look to where it's looking, and about the same distance away from me, a triangle, uh, is what I think is a bear. And I mean, never seen a bear. My only bear experience has been like Gentle Ben and Grizzly Adams. I mean, I didn't know anything about. I didn't even know bears had ears. That's how much I paid attention to what was around me at the time. And it's standing against a tree, and it's looking at the long-haired ram. So I'm looking at its. I can see both its legs. I can see all of its right leg, part of its left leg, its torso up until the shoulders, because it's kind of wrapped around, looking at around the right hand side of the tree. So I can just see like the back of the head. And this is probably 80, 100 yards. And I'm looking at my going, I'm like think bear, and then I look back over at the ram. You said I was cresting the hill, and I mean it's really steep, so you get to the point where you lose traction and you just can't. So I get off the bike, and that's when I saw just standing, hold my bike, looking at this, what's happening, and I look back at the ram, and the ram takes off, and I look back to where the I thought was a bear, and it takes off kind of away from me toward the ram, and it's running on all fours, and just looking kind of weird. Well, that kind of looks kind of weird, just the way it was running, but and it takes off, and so I'm going, okay, whatever, So then I after I got done riding, I went to this bar. It's called the Copper Penny in North Bend. And I was telling these old guys what happened. I was more curious about the ram, because I'm just the goat, because it was like 3 feet tall, long hair, and horns. So I'm asking the old guys to tell me, I don't know, talking about whatever, and then they leave, and one older guy comes over and he says that in the early '60s, that some old guy up there had some rams, and then he died, and nobody came to the property for a year or two to claim stuff, and whatever he had, they broke out and went into the woods and made it with goats or whatever. And he goes, they are around there. You don't see them very often because, like you said, you can't drive in there. You have to walk, and people who hunt there tend to like drink and don't walk very far when they hunt. So then I go. Then he goes, I go, and he goes, you saw a bear? And I go, yeah. He goes, you be careful. And I'm going, okay, and then I blow that off. I'm just talk it up, just remember it because I couldn't explain it. So then and I was I don't know, it's probably like a year after that. I was watching my girlfriend's house. Kids were watching TV. You ever remember watching the Roadrunner?
Mm, yeah.
Well, when he ran, and then he was on all fours, but the coyote like just tapped the ground, and he wouldn't actually use his forward legs to like propel himself. He just like tapped the ground for balance. Well, that's what the bear was doing. I thought that's what it looked like. When I said he ran kind of weird, that's he was his legs were his front were down there, but he's just tapping the ground as for balance as he hauled ass forward. That's the weird part that looked at me, and then I just go, and then that's when I decided like, I mean, I wasn't in the computer just like 2000 about at the time. I bought a computer and started searching, just like as they say, go down the rabbit hole, and and I saw, I looked at a bear run up a hill. Well, it didn't. What I saw was not a bear run up a hill because it looked nothing like what I saw. I just started doing the research and came to the conclusion. I go, that's out there, and I haven't been in the woods or mountain bike since because it all hit me, and I just said, wow. And because I mean, when I said I was a diehard mountain biker, I mean I'd go every day. I'd ride. It's crazy, and I haven't rode since then. I haven't been in the woods since then. I just don't want to go. I have no desire to go. It's just there are other little things, that happens. Just I'm just one of those person that just weird shit happens to me. It has my whole life. Just if it's gonna happen, it'll happen to me. You know.
What did the creature look like? Can you describe the features?
The one, both were about the same size. Between 6 and 7 feet tall, and like 350, 100 pounds. I had a roommate at the time who was like 6'4", 400 pounds. So believe it or not, this guy mountain bike. So I had a good scale to go by. You know, it wasn't full grown mature Sasquatch that they just teenager just messing around with just doing what they do. Just being like me as a kid, just running around, causing trouble. I have my theories and things. There's a couple other instances that happened to me that I can't explain, but it's like I just chalk it all up into whatever.
Okay. And what else did you have happen?
Uh, was during the time I was mountain biking down here. I still live in Southern California. I was going to about Lucas, and it's so you can't drive on it. It's a rough fire road. It's five it's 5.7 miles up, and you gain 3,000 feet. So that's pretty steep. That's not everybody can do it, and not many people can do it. It takes a while to do that. And I did it all the time. And I mean, and then right before you get to the top, switch back. So you got 100 yards to go to the top. And if you make it that far, you don't stop. I never have. But anyway, probably got 100 yards to go to the top, and I just said I'm not going for whatever reason. So I turned around and started going back down. And I mean, this is steep. So when you just left the brakes, you're going 30 miles an hour in seconds, because it's like average of like 12% grade. And second I do this, at least 15 deer start flying by me, on my right and left hand side, you know, down the trail. I mean, they're just hauling ass right by me. Some are just going up, some going down off the trail, and I'm just going, what is probably between 15 and 20 altogether just went flying by me. Two actually, made contact with me or my bike, and I didn't want to turn around and see what was causing this. You can't really, because it's like you're going faster. It's pretty rocky, but I just know what's going on, because I've just never seen deer do that. I mean, it could have been a bobcat, it could have been whatever, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. That was probably the scariest, because I knew what was happening at the time. I'm going, you know, deep, because I've never seen that before. That was slightly odd. And then a couple times just like that, when I think it was Diamond Lake in Oregon. That was I was on a mountain bike from Diamond Lake to Crater Lake. I think it's a trail like 22 miles, and I prepped for like 2 months for this. And just like this like late '90s. So I didn't no computer, nothing. So I just get pamphlets and magazines and read a lot and plan it. So I'm on the boat for a month, and I plan this whole trip. I get there, I got my pop up camper, and the trail started. I don't know, it's like probably like half a mile outside of Diamond Lake, and I prepped much for this, and I get there, and 2 minutes in the ride, I just said no. I turned around, put my stuff in my camper, and said I'm not going to do this. I don't know. I just had a bad feeling, and it looked just the transition from where I was parked, sun to dark, where the trail started. It just kind of freaked me out. I just didn't go, and I just turned around and said, "Whatever." Just blew that off. There's a fail. And then another in I think it was Black Hawk, Colorado. I was going to mountain bike, and my friend flew in. I took him up to the airport. So we're outside of Black Hawk, and we were camping. Just like my first time I think I ever camp, like have a campfire and do the camping thing. Still ignorant, about what to do and what not to do. But we ate and I was around drinking, and then I wake up like 1 in the morning, and 10 feet away from me is a buck, with a big rack, and he's sitting on the ground, 10 feet from me, and just sitting there staring, you know, whatever direction he's staring. And I, wasn't smart to realize that this was kind of odd. And I just go, okay, well, whatever. And then I start throwing rocks at Kevin. I go, Kevin, check it out. He looks at me, he just shakes his head and just goes to sleep. And then 2 hours later, I wake up there, throw another log on the fire. The buck's still there, 10 feet away, just look in the same direction, then glance at me, and I look at him, and then I woke up one more time before the sun came up. I don't know, probably like 5, and he's still there. And then I think it was like about 45 minutes later, I woke up and he was gone. I mean, I didn't see anything or hear anything, but I just thought that kind of strange that he would be. He was there for probably 4 hours, 5 hours, and the whole time did when I looked at him, he was looking the same direction. It just didn't vary from didn't look left or right. He's just looking that direction, and I just like sucked it up under something happened, and I was like, what else? Just just a lot of sounds and things. 'Cause, I mean, I'm talking a lot of places. I've been to I don't know, hundreds, over that from 1994 to 2000, and I'm when I was ignorant about the woods. I mean, I'm talking, stupid. I didn't know what was safe, what not was safe. Just okay, let's do this. So you'll never, never prepare, never camera, no guns, nothing. Just basically me, just going. I'm going that direction, regardless of what's around, and without really thinking about it. And I put myself in some not very smart situations. You know, so kind of weird, but
Yeah, so you've had some experiences in your life. The two creatures that you saw, you said they were pretty similar to each other.
wouldn't say as far as size and weight is what I ascertained. Not big ones. Just I mean, as far as human goes, they'd be very very large for a human. 6.5 feet tall. 300 pounds. But just the agility alone, you know, we can't do that. Just when I went back to that one in British Columbia, the where this thing ran and the speed it ran, I mean, it wasn't flat. There was rocks, there was down trees, there was gullies, and yeah, and going back to that incident, when it ran away, his head, I could see his head, and it didn't bob, it didn't weave, it didn't like a person you would lose sight of them or whatnot. This thing just clear stayed level for the probably as I watched him go away, probably 150 yards. I could see the outline of him, as it went. Only because quarter mile down the way was that street light. I could see the outline of this thing about that distance, and it wasn't bouncing all over the place. It was just like it was on rails, you know, and that's just not possible, you know. And it's weird how when you try to explain something you can't explain, you just your mind will just it'll shut you down. It's crazy, especially if you don't want to believe what you're seeing. Especially me. It's like if I said yes, then I'm not going to mountain bike, and that's all I did. And the day I did pull my head on my ass, I haven't mountain bike since then because that's exactly what happened. You know, and then the one in Coos Bay, just the way was standing by the tree, like I said, for 80, 100 yards, and I didn't I didn't see any ears on it, for that, I didn't I mean, I didn't know bears had ears or how big they were, and if from where it was, I should have been able to see. This is during the day, just like 3 o'clock. Then I didn't see any visible ears, just as it ran away from me at that with that on all fours, but like I explained before, it was more like he was tapping the front with his arms, the tapping the ground for balance, not using his arms at all as like a means of propulsion. Is what it looked like to me. Which people go, what, that doesn't make any sense. Well, that's just what it looked like. Because I can't explain how they run or what they are, but that's just what it looked like to me. So
And was it running bipedally or was it on all
it
fours?
was it was on all fours, but like I said, like my dog when I saw the cartoon, the Roadrunner, when the coyote was chasing him, he's always chasing him, and he'd run on all fours, but his front arms were they would never they won't touch the ground, but he was always bent 90 at the waist, and that's clicked to my memory, and that's what it looked like because he was using the front his his arms, but forelegs, whatever you want to say, but to like tap the ground for balance. Like go too far down, you hit the ground, just like that. It was, you know what I mean? Because when something horse and a four-legged animal runs, they they do it a certain way. They pull back or whatever. It springs with, but that's the weird part that I was looking at. That it wasn't like that. It wasn't. It was different. I did at the time. I didn't know what it was. And then later, she was using it as more for balance. You know, but he's on all fours, running, you know, away toward the, with not 180 degrees away from me, more like 90 away from me, toward where the ram went, that way. But it was that one was like brownish red, and like 80 yards away, and I didn't notice any like uh longer hair on any part of his body. I just like any hanging down from the arms. Like sometimes say like where the tricep area is. Some people say they have like long there. I couldn't tell. I didn't. It could have, but I just didn't really notice. I was more concerned about the ram because I just that kind of that took my preference. Because it looked kind of just ram. I was expecting to see one. Long haired ram. I mean long hair. Just long hair. Like 4, 5, 6 inches long, all over the whole body with the spiral horns. That was kind of what I was paying attention to. Yeah, and the one in the one in BC, just saw the outline of it, but just what it did in that amount of time is just it's not possible. It's just not. From from point A to point B, and the time, and the probably 8 seconds, 150 yards over that, I'm just guessing on that, over that terrain. It's like, you might have an argument if it was on a track and it was totally flat, but it was still faster than that. And over that terrain, it's just like, and that was on, not on, that was on two legs. So, I mean, you, and like, just, yeah, what could it be,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know
know.
what you mean. What part of British Columbia was this in?
Powell River. Powell River is like 50 miles past Vancouver. It's they have a wood mill up there, and they make wood pulp. We could pick up rolls of paper. They make out of wood pulp, and we take it to Hawaii on a boat. We pull a tandem tow, two barges. Each barge is the size of a football field, and yeah, we pull them over to Hawaii, Honolulu. And
Okay.
that was yeah.
So that's near the coast?
Yeah, it's on. If you look at a map, you pass Vancouver, you go north into Puget Sound. Vancouver's on the right. You see Vancouver, then you go up. I don't know. Then I think Westland is the next town. Probably I've never driven there, so I'm just going 30, 40 miles, 50 from Vancouver. Yeah, you can see the lights at night. But it's back then it was it was a small town, but the mill was kind of winded down. So I think people moving out, but now I think it's more populous now. They got other stuff, but yeah, that was the Powell River and Vancouver, British Columbia.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard a lot of Bigfoot reports from British Columbia and Vancouver Island. Do you ever watch How to Hunt? Steve's channel.
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yeah, there's a lot of reports from that area. Do you
Yeah,
think that the Sasquatch are like an unknown primate species, or do you think that there's something else going on?
there's something else going on. I don't know what it is, but I mean, there has to be just because of there's just no one's ever photograph or film except for the Gimlin, and it's just there's too many like places they're at where like nuclear facilities and then sightings. Just the numbers don't add up. There's something inside the whole Sasquatch thing that we're not aware of what it is. I don't know. It's paranormal, or they're getting a lot of help from somebody. Government, alien. Who knows? I mean, it's anybody's guess. Just we should have a lot more information than we do now. But we don't. And there's a reason why that is, and I don't know what that reason is. But it's just the way it is. So you just have to try and figure out what the information we have. It's just like if there's something, there's something to it. It's not just some undiscovered primate. I mean, I think it's highly unlikely because no, it can't be that. It can't be that because we have these pictures for something. If you want to see a Sasquatch, you'd be like me. You're totally ignorant. You never have guns. You're places you shouldn't be, and you know nothing about the woods. And probably you have a really good chance of something happened here. Because they might sense it or something. But that's just what it seems like for me. If you got there banging on trees with a piece of wood, I'm sure they know that we don't even know if they're using a piece of wood to hit the trees. It could be their hand, and I'm sure they know the difference between us hitting a tree and them hitting a tree. And you got cameras and a stick, and you want to go see Bigfoot. Good luck on that with that one. I don't just if they're smart enough not to be filmed, they're not. It's just we're just missing something. Big time. People are missing something when it comes to the whole Southwest thing. I wish I knew what it was, but I don't. Nobody does, and just it's quite the conundrum.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Have you ever had an alien encounter? Have you ever seen a UFO from up close? Anything like that? Shadow people?
Yes, yes, I have. It was December 2nd, uh, 2011. It was when UCLA was playing Oregon for the Pac-10 championship, and when I think it was the first year they had the Pac-10 championship game. I was at my house. I was going to go to my brother's house at halftime, so I didn't want to miss any game. So I was living in Lactonga, California. He was in La Crescenta, 6 miles away. So right at the end of the first half, I drive to his house. I'm driving to his house going, and this is, I mean, this is in Southern California, you know, but it's near Burbank, in between the Mount Lukens and Burbank. So I'm going down, street's called Honolulu. I go to the freeway to 210, right past Lowell, and then I'm looking, uh, I guess east as I'm driving, and then so I go that's a bright star, and then 2 seconds later I go that's us. I go that's helicopter's low, and then as I'm driving probably 45 miles an hour, and then then it gets I don't know, it's probably at this point it's like I don't know, a couple miles away, and then I'm looking at it through my windshield, and then what I noticed first is the stars all around it from you know probably from basically I don't know most of the stars they start to get blocked out, so it's between me and the city. And I'm talking about a big area. I'm talking like 300 yards. I have so right now I got top of the Vugos and I got Lucas left. So it's probably I'm trying to think. Most of the sky is just blocking out, and as I'm looking toward it, and I just see all these stars wink out, at the same time, right and left hand side, and then it had a light on the front, and then the light goes out on the front. And at this point, it's not directly overhead, but close. And then a light. Then I won't call it a light. I call it the check engine light because that's what color it was. It comes on in the middle of this thing, and the thing was shaped as a big triangle. I'm guessing 300 yards by 300 yards. Big. I know I can judge it. I worked by the airport for years, and they LAX and planes came and landed every 30 seconds, so you get a good idea. You know, what size aircraft and what they look like in the sky. And I was in the Coast Guard, so we did a lot of training with the Navy and the financial lookup, so you can judge plane size, speed, and whatnot. Better than the average person. So, and then I called the check engine light because that's what color what this light came on in the middle of it. It was like a peak, like a check engine light, like a dull yellow brown color. Well, it comes on and it's the outline of a I call it it's outline of a jet plane. You know, I call it the Fisher Price jet because I'm looking up at it and it's like the it's over like the you can see it looks just exactly like a jet. But it's over emphasized. Like the engines are way too big. The fuselage was stubby. The tail was overpronounced, just like the Fisher Price used to make a toy jet they sell. Like 30 years ago. It looked like that. It's just it probably couldn't even fly. The just dimensions of it were wrong. But that's exactly you can tell it had a tail, two wings, and two engines. But the engines were like way too big, and that suddenly just flashed on. So if you look up at it, you go, it's a jet or whatever. If I'm going, and then I mean, this time it's directly overhead. I got my sunroof open at a Lincoln LS, and it's going overhead. I'm looking at it, and that's when I realized how big it was. Where it could it was just huge. And then at the same time, a guy was coming up. He was coming toward me on the other side of the road, and he had to seen it in his rearview mirror because he was slowing down and I was slowing down. I was slowing down to make a 180 to turn around, and he was slowing down because he just was trying to figure out what he was seeing in his rearview mirror or whatever. I'm assuming that's what he saw, and he was slowing down just to wait for it to come overhead so he could see it through his windshield. So we ended up basically side by side as I turned around, going like 3 miles an hour. We look at each other, we're just going, what? My window's down, his down, and he's going, what? And then we're both looking at it, and it's huge. And then it just goes from, I guess probably that's like 300 miles an hour. I mean, that's just throwing that out there. But then it just was gone. I mean, it was 100 miles away 1 second later, and it just like went directly. That'd be west, and you could see like it left a trail like a looked like a monofilament fishing line, glow in the dark, just for a second or two. The direction it went just kind of hung in the air. That's what it looked like, and it was just gone like that. And we're just looking at each other, just like what the hell was that, But it was big, big, the triangle. It was the length was the same size as the width, So it was, like a triangle, and it's like, and it's huge. Just like, and that was that. That was the only one I've ever had that I could say, well, that's a UFO, and that's probably not ours, But just when that light came on underneath the in the middle, probably like a tenth the size of the craft, so it's 300 yards. So I'm guessing it was, like I don't know, on it, 20 yards or whatever. Just a picture of a plane, just kind of, I just go, it's kind of, I just thought that was kind of crazy. I thought it was really smart because if anybody looks up, they go, there's a jet or whatever, but it wasn't, And that was that. I reported that to MUFON. I think about a month after it happened, and I, I, I should have like talked to that person who was in the truck that followed with me. He was he was in a Rangers, a work truck, had a cargo bridge in the bed of his truck. But we didn't stop or nothing. But I was kind of hoping I could run into him in my life sometime so I could talk about that. But And that we're talking Los Angeles. This is you know 4 miles away from Burbank, California. But the thing was, it was flying at about 3,000 feet because to the right of me is the Verdugo Mountain, separating the valley here from Burbank. Is like 3,000 feet. The left side, like 4 miles away, is Lupin, which is 5,000, and it was right in that valley area. So he wasn't more than 3,000 feet above because he would have been able to pick up by Burbank Airport or whatnot. So he was below that ceiling to be, and it you know come right down over. You come right over Pasadena, walking out of Flint Ridge, La Cena, Tahunga, Sunland, out over San Fernando Valley, and just it was gone. I mean, yeah, it's like this was like it's like 7:55 on that Friday evening, and I still think about that and go, that's some weird ass shit, Because I mean, that's just a busy street. It's not a small street. It's 4 lanes, and it's Friday. It's 7:56 because I got it at my brother's house like 8:04. So I just said the decimal time had to be because I was 2 miles away from his house. Then when you're on the street, you could see for like probably a mile, in either directions where it happened. And me and him were the only cars on that road at that time at 7:56 on a Friday when there's always more cars on that road. But just one of those things. Then I get to my brother, I tell him, he's like going, "Are you sure?" I go, "Dude, yeah, I'm sure." It's like whatever, just one of those. I'm glad I saw it because I just started laughing after it flew away. I just started laughing because I believe in UFOs and whatnot, and I just thought that was I thought that was the funniest thing. I just thought that was great. Because now I know instead of having to just like Sasquatch people, they believe or. Well, I know I know they're both around, so I don't have to search for information trying to convince myself because I don't have to because I've seen one and whatever. So that's makes it a lot easier, you know, when you're
Hmm.
trying to,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. It's one of those things that's hard to believe until you experience it yourself.
right. It's like I was telling this is kind of like 2 years ago. I woke up and I was in the VA hospital. I woke up in the ICU unit, intensive care unit on Sunday morning, and then at the foot of my bed is a priest. They come visit every Sunday. Just the ICU unit at the VA hospital. I didn't know that at the time because that's actually the first time I've ever spent a night in the hospital in my life. At age 59, I think, is when first time I ever was in the hospital overnight. But you wake up and you see a priest in your bed, you naturally gonna think, what the hell, whatever. And he says to me, he goes, "Do you believe in God, my son?" I go, "Well, Father, I I like to see something before I believe in it. So I know there's a Sasquatch, but I haven't seen God yet." Is what I told him. Just because which is true. That's the way it is. So I tend to believe what I see, not believe is believe. That means just going to believe somebody else and what they say or what they wrote is true or they're not lying or whatnot. But see something, well, that I'll take that over what something was written or what somebody told me. Something written 2,000 years ago by most people who couldn't even read, and they're writing about an event that happened 100 years before that. I'm not going to believe that. It's not. I know what I saw, and I mean, it even took me years to prove to myself what I saw. It wasn't like so it wasn't like it just a snap decision. You know, so I'm those are the only two things I know. That they exist. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet you're a lot more open-minded after your encounters, though.
Oh, you wouldn't even believe how much it affects your life. Your life is gonna change so much. You can't explain how much it changes. It changes what you think about everything, what you doubt. It's like, it, yes, yeah, who knows what would have happened. If those didn't happen right now, I wouldn't be. If my life would have been a lot different. You know, it's just it makes you not. It just makes you not believe and think everybody's full of shit. Is what it what happens. You know, because yeah, it just does. Because you're not spending your time going out trying to prove something. You already know that it's there. So why bother doing that? And you just watch everybody flounder around, come up with all these dumbass reasons why something is or is not. When you just go, well, that's you're wasting your time, man. You know, it makes it life harder and like easier. At the same time. You know, because have to go run out. Banging on trees with a piece of wood and a camera. Why? I mean, I know it's out there, so why bother with that? And watching the dumb things people do, or it's just like it's crazy. Trying to prove something. So
Yeah,
yeah, definitely
absolutely.
changes your life.
There's a ton of people that listen to these shows and watch these videos about Bigfoot trying to convince themselves that it exists, and I think constantly they think, oh, maybe, and then when they're done with the show and go back to regular life, they're like, no, there's not a chance. But once you see something like this, it'll change you and you won't doubt it.
And yeah, they think if you want, I was the perfect candidate for Bigfoot. Just dumb as dirt. As far as woods go, and just out there with no flashlight, no camera, no by myself, all the time. Just yeah, just a dumbass, and then and then and if you put yourself in that position, stuff's gonna happen to you, versus you out there with cameras and lights and documenting everything. I mean, no, if they're smart enough to not be seen, 100% up to this point, they're not going to mess with you if you're out there like that. But if you got the balls, go out there, don't have a flashlight, and just start walking around the woods, something's probably going to happen. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We
they're
base
way better than
everything off of our experiences, and if we don't experience something, it doesn't exist. And with something like this, once you see it, there's no going back.
but there's not. I mean, it affects my life. So, I mean, there's a lot of parts of my life that affected I don't even know it has. It's just how you think about everything. I mean, it's you know just listen to other people's conversation about something, and you're just in the background. And what you know, and they don't. It just changes everything. You can't even. I can't explain how many different things it's just it's changed. Could be for the better. It could be for the worst. You don't know. You know,
Yeah.
you definitely your bullshit meter definitely uh, gets better at registering things after you see one. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you're not working the same job that you did in the past when you had your encounters, is that correct?
No, no, I quit working on tugboats in 2008. Yeah, 2008. Yeah, and I quit mountain biking, and basically 2002, I think, is when all this kind of came down to me at once. I said, I'm not gonna. I haven't rode a bike since then. I really have not rode a mountain bike. My bike was $5,000. I mean, how many thousand miles? I just stopped once it dawned on me. But I knew that the whole time, in knowing that whenever I said yes, there is one, that I'm just not gonna. I mean, and that's exactly what happened. And that had been, I don't even want to go, to a dozen trees on the side of the road, to take a piss. I don't even want to be. I just don't want to. I
Mm.
mean,
Do you live in an
because
area where you can possibly have another encounter?
oh yeah, I still live in the same area, but I can be a mile away from here, and I can panorama 360 degrees. You would think I was in West Virginia, but I'm technically in the city of Los Angeles. It's just people just don't have any idea because I mean the highest point in the city of not the county, the city of LA is over 5,000 feet on top of Mount Lucas, and you can't drive up there. You just can't. And then to get there, you got to go 5.8 miles with 3,000 feet elevation change. So you got to walk up there or ride up there. And that's in the city of LA, not the county, which people just go, "What? You're high." No, dude, look it up, man. Look it up. There's places. Yep, there's places everywhere. They've been seen everywhere. So, but that's one of those the part that nobody can explain how or why, and who knows. I don't know. I haven't seen any around here. Just that one deer event that was kind of weird. I mean, you know anything about deer? I mean, Have you ever seen like 15 deer, running past you on the road? I mean, that's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like they were running away from something.
Yeah, they were. And I've never seen that many at one given time, and yeah, and even to yeah. Just, I'm not saying that was a Sasquatch or anything. I don't know what that was. It's probably a mountain lion, but during the day, right there, I don't know. That was just kind of freaky. When they actually come close up to like rub it, hit you, bump against you on your bike. It just doesn't happen that often. You know, it gets you thinking about things.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, Mark. Well, I think that pretty well covers your encounter story. Do you have any questions for me? Anything else that you'd like to add to the podcast?
What do you think it is? What do you think the Sasquatch phenomenon is all about?
I think it's some type of hybrid mix between humans, primates, and the giants. I don't think it's a natural creature that fits in the animal kingdom, and I think there's some type of intervention going on, whether it was like the ancient Nephilim, aliens, or just something that's genetically changed and mutated these creatures.
Well, I tell you, I'll throw this out there. This is what I've been thinking about. If you take pick a Sasquatch, height, weight, what it look like, and you take a gray alien, put them on the side. If you combine the two, they kind of look like a human. As far as weight goes, amount of hair, size of certain things. I mean, it's they would just look kind of human. It just would. I mean, I'm not saying it is, but I just find that kind of weird. Something to think. The size of appendages. Big arms, small arms, and you take half of each, and you got something that's like a human. You just do. I mean, that's just what you end up with, which is kind of funny. But who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, that's the mystery, and we'll always wonder until we finally know the truth.
Yeah, and if they let us know the truth.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but we'll
Not in
keep
my
on.
lifetime.
Right.
Not in my lifetime.
Yeah. We'll keep watching and listening to other people's encounters until we can finally piece it together, but it's just something so strange that it just doesn't fit into a box.
You can't. You can't. Just like when I've crunched the numbers on where the sightings are, how many, and how many percentage of the UFOs near a site, just everything. It's just nothing adds up. There's nothing you can say. This is it. You can't. It just doesn't. Nothing that the only thing that adds up is that it doesn't add up. That's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Which so.
It's the rabbit hole, man.
Yep, it's been a good journey, man. Let me tell you, I got some good discussions with people. That's for sure.
Yeah.
My standard line lately is to say, it's not my job to make you less ignorant. It's just not my job, man. So go, go somewhere else. Just getting tired of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. All right, Mark. Well, I appreciate your time today and your willingness to speak openly about your encounters and experiences. And if you ever run into anything else in the future, feel free to reach out to me.
Hey, no problem, no problem.
Okay. Well,
thank you. You have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. You have a great day, and I appreciate your time, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
All right, Mark, thank you very much for sharing your experiences from the Pacific Northwest, and Oregon sounds like a very exciting state to explore Bigfoot. And yeah, you seem to be very adamant about these encounters and experiences, and it seems like it really rattled you. I can only imagine what it's like to see this creature in the Pacific Northwest moving on all fours, and to see something that you've never encountered before. I know what it's like, and it'll really terrify you, and you will think about it for the rest of your life, that's for sure. I definitely want to get out to the Pacific Northwest and do research one day, but at the same time, what's a week gonna do? I mean, people live out there their entire lives and they have never seen anything. People camp all the time in these areas and never encounter anything. It blows my mind that someone will go out to the forest for the first time ever and see a Sasquatch. I'm sure that'll really terrify a person and they'll never go out into the woods again. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for listening, and if you guys can, Subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment down below, and if you have a Bigfoot encounter you would like to share, please contact me sometime at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. Thank you everyone for listening, and until the next one, be safe out there in the woods.